because many shows, like our own customers were relaunching their shows, but then other shows were coming in.
Yeah.
And then because we were early in starting back up, we were ready to take on business that other contractors that worked with people weren't ready to take on. So we were in a unique position that we were early, post-pandemic. As early as 2021, at the end of the year, we started doing shows again, and then early 22, was all out. And what's interesting was 2022, shows that we were talking to actually surpassed 2019 numbers.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
2022?
2022, we're having more success than the pre-pandemic.
Okay.
And what I attribute that to is the need for people to be person-to-person interaction. I think that the one thing that the pandemic taught us is that our industry is very important.
Yes.
Because it's, ordering things online from Amazon, there's no connection, there's not the same. If I'm trusting you to build my exhibition, the online, transaction isn't enough. Or if I'm trusting you with major orders that are going to fulfill my customers' needs, you need to have trust, you need to have a relationship.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenido a Mundo Expo, el podcast donde platicamos con toda la gente importante de la industria de reuniones. Y el día de hoy tengo un invitado muy especial y va a ser mi primer episodio en inglés, my first English episode. So, welcome, Richard.
I'm honored to be your first English episode.
He's known as Exporich.
Exporich.
He has a podcast also. We will leave you the link so you can know his incredible podcast. And I have recently met him because we are at the Costa Rica Convention Center. They have been amazing. They have welcomed us very, very nice.
Yes.
And also I had the opportunity to speak with Richard about his experience, about a little bit of his history. Yeah. And I hope my English is just enough so you can understand it. Richard, please tell our audience your experience of life. How did you get to this incredible industry?
So my story is actually, I was born into it. I'm a second generation.
Okay.
So my father started working in the exhibition industry when he was 17 years old. Mm-hmm. He was working, kicking the carpet, building the booths, and then he worked his way up through with different companies. Mm-hmm. And then so I experienced it as a child. I would go to the warehouse, go to the show floor. Okay. My first job ever, I was about 8 years old, and I was collecting trash from the waste baskets on the show floor. So my professional experience was after high school. I actually went to the U.S. Marines. So I joined the military for 4 years, went around the whole world, got to see many countries.
You have a Marine right here.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you. And so after serving, I came back home, and I knew that I wanted to do this. I missed it. It was in my blood. So I started working through production and sales, and at some point, took over management, and my father had retired. So for years, quite a few years now, he's been retired. I've been running the company. Expo Convention Contractors is our company, and we are based in Miami, and we also have operation in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how we have basically come to be very familiar with the Latin American market is Miami is the gateway to South America. Mm-hmm. And Miami, is this melting pot of the Latin community. So it's very much part of our company. Majority is from different Latin cultures, most of our team. And then we also have an office in Medellin, Colombia, because one of the important things for us was making sure that we had a great service and experience for customers coming from South America into the U.S. So we actually opened an office in Medellin, built a team there. So, and now, the simple thing is, with the way our world is so global and remote, our team in Medellin supports operations in the United States. They plan shows, they work on events, and then they'll fly to Denver, they'll fly to Louisville, they'll fly to Los Angeles. So our teams are very versatile. They'll produce trade shows and events all over.
When did you start at the Medellin office?
2018.
Okay.
So in 2018, it was an opportunity where we had some of our team members that were actually living there and working back and forth from Miami.
Okay.
And then we said, you know what, we have great people that are with our team, and we should just really expand on that opportunity. So that's what motivated us to open in Latin America. And so Expo, we opened in 1995, and prior to that, my father had worked for other companies. So in '95 is when we became Expo. So now we're on 28 years. So,
yeah. And why did he start at this industry? He was connected with the industry, or
no? It was literally a summer job. So
really?
For him,
okay.
he saw they needed some workers, and he, like I said, he started to roll the carpet and like move the freight and start to build the booths, and he took an interest. Okay. So then he started to do it more and more, and then when he showed interest, he had a great mentor that was in the industry that gave him the opportunity to be a supervisor. And then once he started to be a supervisor, he started to see more opportunity, and so it pulled him in, just like it pulled me in. So because he got hooked very young, he spent his whole career in it. So
okay.
Yeah.
And could you mention some mentors that you have had along your history?
Yeah, I mean, first would be my father. I mean, he got me in the industry and trusted me to build the business, and he's taught me a lot. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of great leaders in the industry. So some of my clients, longtime clients, have been mentors. We work with Informa, and someone who is in that industry, that company, Ken McAvoy, who he's been throughout the industry. He actually worked with my father at one point also.
Okay.
So then after my father retired and he was still in the industry, so I've been able to work hand in hand with him, and then Mike Grant with Reed International also. We've done some shows with Reed, and just being able to work and collaborate with people that have been great leaders in the industry has taught me a lot and given me opportunities as well.
Yeah. And now talk a little bit to us about the exhibition industry at the United States, especially after the pandemic. Yeah. How has it How is it growing after this eventuality that?
Yes. Yeah, it was definitely a struggle, going from being dependent upon live events, and then live events disappear. Yeah. So we had to do a lot of things to shift our focuses and stay active. Mm-hmm. And so after surviving that, in 2021, towards the end of the year, what was unique to us is being based in Miami. Florida opened up first. Okay. So a lot of business came towards Florida, and a lot of states were still closed down from the pandemic. Okay. So, within the United States, it's each state has its own legislation. So the opening times were like very, very different, and Florida was very early. So we were fortunate because many shows, like our own customers, were relaunching their shows, but then other shows were coming in. Yeah. And then because we were early in starting back up, we were ready to take on business that other contractors that worked with people weren't ready to take on. Mm-hmm. So we were in a unique position that we were early, post-pandemic. As early as 2021, at the end of the year, we started doing shows again, and then early 22, was all out. And what's interesting was 2022, shows that we were talking to actually surpassed 2019 numbers.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
2022?
2022, we're having more success than the pre-pandemic. Okay. And what I attribute that to is the need for people to be person-to-person interaction. I think that the one thing that the pandemic taught us is that our industry is very important.
Yes.
Because it's, ordering things online from Amazon, there's no connection, that's not the same. If I'm trusting you to build my exhibition, the online, transaction isn't enough. Or if I'm trusting you with major orders that are going to fulfill my customers' needs, you need to have trust, you need to have a relationship.
That's the first. And then the transactional operations at the web occurs after that.
Right.
But the first thing is the trust.
Right. And building trust is impossible in a digital world, I think. So that really proved our concept of our live events industry, of how important it was. When we saw the 2022 restoration surpassing 2019, and 2019 was almost every customer I had the best growth ever.
The best year, before the pandemic,
And now we get into 22 and 23. Some 22 was maybe flat, but equal. 23, we're already seeing many surpass as well. And what's also interesting is, through 22 and into 23, there's all the talk about recession, there's talk about that, but we're still seeing trade shows over like the attendance is blowing out the expectation. Organizers are planning for 8,000 people, and then day of opening they have 11,000.
Wow.
So it's amazing and it's great, and it's really shown the stability in what we do, and the need. So we have that human need to interact in person. So
something that I saw that happened during the pandemic is that some companies that never had organized any event did it online.
Yeah.
And after that, they started to do the offline event
Yeah.
to get the community to get a little bit more of contact. Have you seen that in the United States? New organizers that started after
small independent organizers launching. Yeah, I have seen that because I've seen, a perfect example is when there was a bigger organizer who just laid dormant. And then you had customers that really wanted that interaction. Yeah. So they broke away and set up either their own association, small group, or maybe one strong exhibitor that knows how valuable that is, said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And we saw some small events spawn new events, and it was there was success there for sure, and obviously it's great for everybody because
more business,
more business for us, more business for exhibitors, more business for customers, and new opportunities. So, and the interesting thing is that when the other bigger shows relaunch, people still do both. So, it's more opportunity.
Yeah. And I want to talk about some topic that recently in the last conference we talked about. They talked about is the young people that is getting into companies.
Yeah.
How is the competition with other industries in the United States? Here at Latin America, I see that is our industry is not so sexy for the students and for the new beginners.
Right.
How do you in the United States do? How do you do to get
the recruiting?
To recruit the new talent.
So over the years, we've found more non-traditional ways of recruiting.
Okay.
We have the job duties, and we want to make sure that the abilities fit, but it's been more important to us to find the right human.
Okay.
Because I think that there's not many schools that teach what we do.
Attitude over aptitude, right?
Right. Okay. Because if we see that they have a fundamental skill set that can apply.
Yeah.
The other thing, what's interesting, especially being a contractor, and you know this as well, like a person has to work for a year and they still only learn this much because of every show has a new challenge, every exhibitor has a new need that you may have never even seen before, and there might be a piece of technology you never dealt with before, there might be some decoration that you thought you could get and then it's not available, and you have to scramble and you have to make things happen.
Yes.
And I think that's the durability and somebody that's able to make things happen is the most important for people that are producing. But then, there's many opportunities within, we have designers that they're not going to be the ones on the show floor making it. They're going to be the ones designing. There's going to be administrative support people. There's going to be, finance. So you're right, it's not a very, glamorous far as that, but it's exciting. And I think that if you can show that excitement, people will get excited. The other thing is, I actually go and I speak at universities, and whenever there's a hospitality program, I try to get exposure to our industry. So I've been speaking at Florida International University, and then also Johnson & Wales had a hospitality program. So two of the universities in Miami. So exposing people that have interest in hospitality, we could teach them, there's a whole nother sector that they're not even aware of. And I think that's a good lead in, because if somebody's interested in hospitality, it's very transferable, clearly. So, because it's experiential, so.
Te voy a platicar un poquito de nuestra empresa Sega. En Sega nos dedicamos al diseño e instalación de stands para exposiciones. Es la mejor opción que puedes conseguir para diseñar e instalar tu stand en eventos que tengas en todo México, y no solo eso, también empezamos con algunos proyectos en Estados Unidos. Te invito a que ingreses a sega.com.mx, te repito la página, sega.com.mx, déjanos tus datos y te vamos a asesorar de la mejor manera para que participes de forma exitosa en tu exposición, en tu congreso, en tu convención, y rescates la mayor cantidad de valor de esa participación. Ingresa sega.com.mx y déjanos tus datos.
You're right. Now, I know some support that governments give to organizers at Mexico, for example.
Sure.
Do you have any kind of, for the organizers, do they have any kind of support for the government to start any new event or get events from outside?
There's endless lists of grants that people can go, but they're very difficult. So you have to be, it's not easy, but there is money available for starting new businesses or events. The other thing is, when you're actually working with events and you go to a city, it's important, very important, to connect with the Convention and Visitors Bureau of that city, because they will make sure that you get access to any concessions that are available. Venues that might offer, discounted, rent if you get the food, or so they know the best route to get the best, call it the most benefits possible. So working with the local CVBs is very important, and and as far as just money, grants, there's a ton of money out there. It's just you have to work for it. So
In which industries do you see that in their events is more innovation, more technology? What have you seen about?
What's interesting is that I'm seeing every single sector trying to innovate, and really, let's just talk about the trade show itself, not just the industry, but the trade show within that industry. And they are trying to innovate on the experience, because they know that although numbers have been great, they want to make sure that they're giving people the good return on investment, because you're spending a lot of money. You're not just buying a ticket. You're buying a flight. You're paying hotel. You're paying for food. So there is a heavy cost. So they need to make sure that the ROI is there. And I think that rethinking the way that someone attends an event has been the most innovative thing. And I hear it in so many different customers and so many different industries, how important it is to, because they come to me and they say, what's the cool new thing? We need to have more experience. We need to get more immersive. We need to, so, these words that they know are important, and we have to brainstorm, and we have to come up with ideas to make, the person feel excited to be there, and also sharing it. They have to be there, sharing it on their social media, showing that they're excited, and therefore, you know, you got to do it for the gram.
If you don't put it on Instagram, it didn't happen.
Right, right. And if you're not happy about being there, you're not going to put it on Instagram.
You're
you
right.
know, if you're having a bad hotel stay, what happens if you're having a bad hotel stay? You're going to go on and complain on TripAdvisor,
on Twitter.
Yeah, no. So all the touch points are very important, and I think that, you know, content is always important. You know, people need to come, you need to draw them to an event so they can learn something, and then you're connecting them with buyers and sellers, and that's the basis. It's all of the other touch points, like you said, the hotels, maybe the airport arrival, you know, making sure that, you know, the city knows, you know, if you have a really large scale event, you know, communicating with Uber about, you know, the traffic patterns and things, so like really communicating and setting up, because you don't want, you know, a big Uber line dropping off over here when really there's a setup spot here.
Yeah.
So making it the ease for your customers is, you know, so thinking about new ways about it within the customer's experience mind is the most important.
You're right. And speaking about technology, this year the new big thing is, you know, the artificial intelligence.
Yes.
It's not new, but this year especially,
it's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic. So how do you see that this kind of development is getting for the organizers to get better their events?
I think if they're smart, they're going to use it, because, you know, I mean, obviously the most popular one is ChatGPT, and the way that you use ChatGPT, there's so many benefits of, like, you know, you can ask it direct questions about problems that happen. Like, how do I solve this problem in this area, this happened?
Now the important thing is the question, not the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, you know, the smart organizers are going to utilize, you know, AI for problem solving and staying ahead of, so you also want to, you know, if you know one person's going to have the problem, more people will have that. So staying ahead of the potential, and then also marketing. I mean, marketing is a whole another beast now with the AI. So, you know, using AI to amplify your way you market your event, I think, is going to be huge. So
and to automatize some tasks.
Yes.
That consume your time,
Yes.
and so you get that time to get strategic
absolutely.
Things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have an idea, but you want to make sure the idea, if you're going to put it in publish, you want to make sure it's eloquent. So, you know, you say, hey, I have a message like this, and so we use it. We use it for you know, making our certain marketing materials and things to make sure that the message is clear and concise. So.
Okay. And also about technology. During the pandemic, we saw a lot of virtual events.
Yeah.
And after that, at least on Latin America, we came back to only the presential things. The organizers don't want to get too much virtual events. Do you see the same thing on United States, or is there more hybrid events? How is that developing?
Very few hybrid events.
Okay.
Because of the success rate of the success rate of the hybrid event, I think that, you know, there were people trying to do a hybrid event that weren't so technically advanced, you know. So I want to say, if there was someone who is, you know, just putting it together to make a hybrid, or not even a hybrid, a virtual event, but their sector doesn't call for it, it was usually a fail. Technology events have always had that need, you know. If you have people that are into technology, you know, you more often than not, you're going to have more introverts that are, you know, code, you know, people that write code, people that, you know, people that veer towards that will typically be a certain type that would be just fine visiting an event and without the, you know, in person. So you have to know your audience. You know, if you have a home goods show, and you know, it's all product that is, the most important thing is to touch and feel and look at, you know, the virtual event's not going to be very successful.
No.
So having I think that what people have seen a lot of success now is, because we also know that live streaming is very difficult, very, very expensive.
Yes.
So having the hybrid it's been cumbersome, but actually I think the most success has been having accessible content. So
Yeah, you're right.
so if you can have your live event, but maybe if I can't travel, but I can access the sessions and at my own pace,
Yes.
you know, and I can access, so having access to the event virtually, but it doesn't have to be live, you know. I think that's been a very successful add-on for a lot of industries.
Okay. You have some events that you take like a benchmark of good practices in the United States that you can tell us, so we can figure it out how to know about them. Which events do you think that our audience have to know about? So maybe they start to get to those events to know.
Sure. I mean, on the international level, we have the World Trade Center Miami organizes a show called America's Food and Beverage, and there's a heavy influence of Latin America, but also all over global, and that's in Miami in the September, I believe. And then you have FIME, or FIME, which is International Medical Equipment. And that's actually an Informa Markets show.
Okay.
And that's in Miami, and that's the biggest medical equipment show in the southern United States. And we have representation from all over the world, many pavilions. So it's if you have an industry where you're producing medical equipment, that's definitely a great show to be at, because there's a very, very high attendance now. Tens of thousands of people, so that's a great show. And then we also do the Swimwear Association Swim Show. That one's in July, and that's it's a beautiful show. Lots of high end, lots of runways and great fashion booths. So on that show, we have a lot of international presence from we have South American designers that come up and take booths. So.
Okay. Those are some examples. Also as Informa, do you know other organizers that make events on the United States and also in Latin America?
Yes, there's Mesa Düsseldorf. So they're originally Germany, but they have a big presence in the U.S. and then also Latin America. Reed International. So they have office in Mexico and I believe Brazil. And Tarsus, which is now acquired by Informa. There's quite a few that have international presence, and I can't think of more just now offhand. But these are most of the ones that we work with on both cross border. So.
Okay. Yeah. Exporich, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Paco.
Before we end, I want you to tell our audience last ideas about the exhibition in the United States. Why do you think that they have to know more about it?
Well, as we see the whole world, borders breaking down, the whole world becomes more global. I think that it's more and more opportunity, and there's so many exhibitions in so many cities in the United States that you really have like a huge menu of options of where you can do business, and I guess whichever pattern of growth, if you see California being a path in, or if you see Las Vegas or Miami, just reach out, look up your industry and see what events are happening, because there's not enough things to buy in the United States. So I mean, the possibilities are endless. So I think that there's so much opportunity for every sector for growth in the United States globally. So.
And also many of the exhibitions of those great exhibitions in the United States open the door not only for that market, but for the world.
Yes.
There are many people from all over the world that come to United States exhibition. So it's a great pleasure, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y amigos que nos están viendo, les voy a dejar el link para que vean el podcast de mi estimado Exporich. Les voy a dejar también el link para que se apunten a mi newsletter Y también nos sigan en Facebook, en Instagram y en LinkedIn. En todas esas redes sociales estamos como @somosmundoexpo y a mí me pueden seguir más en Twitter como @PacoLunaCampos. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.